Good morning. My name is Oscar Renteria, and welcome to the Napa Valley Grape Growers Fridays in the Vineyards. You are standing here at the Renteria 360 Vineyard in Oakville, California, the Napa Valley, warming up before our first day of harvest, actually, which is going to be on Monday, picking Sauvignon Blanc in Pope Valley. So the cobwebs are definitely off. But I'm extremely excited to be here and an opportunity to share a little bit about my story. So today we actually have a couple things going on. One is we are just clearing the tules out of the reservoir to keep this water nice and ready to be used. We actually, in the last 3 years, we've used it for summer cooling during heat waves. We don't really do it until we get past 100% vibration. But we have found ourselves for the last 3 years using it, especially 2017. In September, we had those 3 days where we hit 114, 117 degrees. If it wasn't for being able to simulate what Mother Nature sometimes does, which is the rain, and we don't like rain during harvest, we could have lost 20, 30% of our crop through to dehydration. Really, my story begins with my mom and dad. I was born in St. Helena, right up here, in 1967, but my mother came here in 1952 at the age of 13 to come and grow grapes, work in the fields with her siblings of 7, and then in the Oakville. And my father came here in 1962 at the age of 24, and he landed at Sterling. So both my parents are migrant farm workers. I'm a son of 2 farm workers, and growing up in Napa Valley, it was very customary, nothing different, nothing strange to me, to work in the fields. At the age of 11, in 5th grade, the first time I ever worked was for my father at the 3 Palm Vineyard, tying shoots. Back then, it was cold in the 70s. It was pretty freaking cold, and we'd tie shoots, summer vacations, but it was all my aunts and uncles. I have 14 aunts and uncles in the valley, 36 first cousins. I mean, it was nothing strange to be working in the fields. I like making money. It was a little cold. It was hard to get up. It was kind of early. If you're a female, you got a 30-minute extra time in the car to take a nap. If you're a male, you were in it and at it at 6 o'clock in the morning or before that. But I really enjoyed it. I was with all my family. I didn't see, I didn't have any problem with it, especially if I can contribute at a pretty young age. It was pretty cool to actually work in the fields. I thought in the vineyards with my cousins and my aunts and uncles, and there was a lot of us. And and then we moved from St. Helena to Napa when I was 7 years old because my mom and dad wanted me to learn to speak English. I didn't. My first language was Spanish, and I didn't know any English. So we moved to Napa Valley. We moved to Napa, and I went to school at St. Apollinaris to learn the language. There were no other kids of my color or other ethnicity, so it was pretty difficult. I don't remember those years that well, but I really thank my mom and dad, especially my mother, because she pushed education on us. And graduated from St. Mary's Margaret with my degree in business, and this is in August of 1989. And my father called me, and my father had just recently started his own vineyard management company, a couple clients, 40 acres, and he said he had an opportunity to manage another vineyard that was fairly big, another 40 acres. And he asked me if I would come home and help him with the harvest. So I didn't hesitate. I didn't tell my father I had another job. I had bought suits. I was actually going to make some pretty good money. And I wasn't aware that my father was not going to pay me. But my mother was, through food. And I got to play golf 2 days a week. That was kind of the deal back then when I started. So I lived with my father for 5 years, and I decided that this was something I really wanted to do. And I bought my father's company in 1995. At that time, we had about 20 employees and managed a little under 400 acres. Today, my father's still alive, and he's still what I call our consulting quality viticulturist. We're not really sure what that title means, other than the fact that he gets a paycheck from his son every week. But I'm really fortunate because my father, I think what made it pretty unique for me is that he was willing to tolerate and let me learn, while at the same time making sure that I learn from his experience. And what I carry on from my father is the opportunity to represent, as he's always said, don't mess up our last name. But it's always been about culture. My father was a great leader of men. When he retired from Walsh Vineyard Management in 1987, his retirement party, the folks that were in that room, they were titans of industry, but I didn't really know that and really know them. I just remember their words, like, yeah, your father is the master. Nobody would hold a pair of shears in his presence. But what separated him from the rest was the way he was able to motivate people and give them pride of ownership of the work they were doing, specifically the farm worker. So that's a tradition that I've carried on, and I hope that I have been able to do my part to improve on that. I think of culture and try to be the employer of choice when it comes to vineyard management, of treating people right and showing that we care. Check this out. 1964 at the Sterling Labor Camp. There's my dad. Our winemaker Kirk Vengi with my mom and dad. The Tres Perlas, name of our brand, after our 3 girls and our 3 generations of being here. Here's one of our crews working at this Vineyard, Renteria 360. Some of our ladies. Super proud of them. This is our inaugural release, our 2016 Renteria 360. Wines made by Mr. Kirk Vengi. 3 different clones. And then we usually take about 3/4 of the best barrels that we have and we make this wine. So this was our inaugural first year release of our Renteria 360 2016. Cheers.